We are now live. So, hello, known world. Welcome to the March decision meeting for Meridies. I'm the Honorable Lord Ulrich Eisenhand, Pen and Herald for the Kingdom of Meridies, and I am joined by some rather wonderful heralds and Lucian, but we'll let that slide. So if we could go ahead and get some introductions out of the way, we'll start with the boss lady, if you would.
Hi, I'm the boss. I'm Mistress Flonnet. I'm the Beacon Principal Herald of Meridies.
All right, Mrs.
Officers.
Hi, I'm Mistress Bronwyn. I'm the White Antelope Herald, which is a heraldic title, not an office. I'm just here to play.
And we love it.
All right, continue down the screen here. Lucian.
All right. I'm Lord Lucien d'Artois. I'm the Lambent Herald for Meridies. I'm the College of Arms commentator for the Kingdom.
All right, Katla.
I am Katla Fristian's daughter. I am a herald at large for the Kingdom of Meridies.
All right, Cypher, you want to unmute and talk to us?
Absolutely. Kurt Bogner here. I am the Cypher Pursuant for Meridies Internal Submissions.
Keelan?
Hello, I'm Lord Kaelin McAulden, and I'm the Hammer Herald for the Barony of Thor's Mountain.
Yay!
All right, Finna?
I'm Thorfinna Moss' daughter. I'm Deputy to Golden Iris in the Barony of Gladenfeld.
All right, and our new addition here, Taryn. You want to introduce yourself to the internet?
Hey, it's Taryn the Wayward, Lantern Herald.
Yay!
All right, I think Alexander is trying to get in. He was fussing about the links not working, but obviously the links are working because we have a whole bunch of people.
Aren't we limited to like 10 people?
You have to be smarter than the technology.
You got one room for one more.
So we will let him introduce himself if and when he is able to join us, and we'll just go ahead and dive right on in to
Let's go
to our March letter. So item number 1, Anya Al-Tujar, new name and device. Starting with the name, there are lots of comments with issues with the name. Since your comment is up there at the top, you wanna talk about a little bit of what the issue is?
Well, where do I start? I basically wrote a whole book about this. There's several issues with the submitted name. First of which is that it's not documented from the documentation that she provided. She took the first name is from a non-period source. The by name was taken from a given name that was like basically had the first syllable chopped off, and now it's a by name apparently. I don't know.
So
and
what I gathered from the article with the documentation she was using for her by name, it was kind of an honorific given name. Is kind of like almost a title kind of deal. That's what I gathered from the article.
The given name, which was actually Sit Al-Tujar, which is like mistress of merchants,
It's presumptuous.
Well, I mean, it was used as a given name in that period, in that culture, but that's not the culture she's trying to document. She got
she's trying to,
she's trying to mix a Berber North African name with an Egyptian name, and that's.
I don't think those go together.
Right, and then Basil and Michael Gerard both gave pretty good suggestions. Basil for the surname and Michael Gerard for the given name. And I was able to get in contact with the submitter, and the name that she has allowed us to change it to is Hana Al-Tajiria. So
Okay, that works.
It is one of the suggested names at the bottom of Michael Gerard's post. Is the first spelling without the H on the end of Hannah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If she's willing to take it, then.
Yeah.
Because Hannah is documentable as a Jewish name.
Yes.
And Tajaria basically means the merchant. So, Al-Tajaria. So
and she had requested authenticity for North African Jew.
We may have to leave that up to Pelican.
So
Tajaria it's a generic Arabic name. It's basically the merchant. So that would have been used all across the Arab world. Yeah. Whereas Berber is kind of its own thing within the Arab world. They're not really Arabs, so they wouldn't use Arab names mixed with Berber names. But this proposed change fixes all of those issues.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
So hello, Woo.
Woo!
Woo!
Since you were able to join us,
the Sparky Herald.
Spark.
Are you going to say hello?
She waved.
I don't know if you're trying to talk, but if you are, we're not hearing you coming through. No, we cannot hear you.
We can see the text, but not hear the voice.
So, and was anyone able to do a conflict check on that name?
There weren't any conflicts with the new name as proposed. I just didn't put a comment in there that I conflict checked it because I was already done with this entry at this point. In more ways than one.
Yeah. So, assuming that we're not finding any conflicts with the name, I think with the change that it should be good.
Yes.
Good to go.
All right. So we'll send the changed name up. All right. Moving on to the device. For pale, sinister, or and azure, on a hand of Miriam, a Star of David counterchain.
I somewhat worry about, I don't know if with the color correction, if it's just my eyes, I worry about part of the Star of David being cut off and unidentifiable. Possibly because the color correction looks like it is.
It bothered me that it so barely overhung the division line, but there's just no way when you center the hand and put the star
it's forced, so
even before all that, though, I'm trying to read through all the discussion on the hand of Fatima. Was there a determination on that, on whether that's even allowable?
They said that there was a request to try to document it better, period.
A decision has been made, I believe, but it hasn't been published yet.
Yeah, it's been used in the SCA for years,
So I've already contacted Ragged Staff. She told me to send it up if there are no other issues with it.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
She said that Laurel wants to see this kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay.
They do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
this is definitely.
So as long as there are no conflicts and no rule violations with it, which I don't think there are.
Not
I don't see any problems.
Yeah. What does a hand of Fatima even fall under in the coding?
Hand.
Hand. Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't see any conflicts when I checked it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I imagine it would be kind of rare to find this anyway.
I am going to recommend we utilize Magnus's reblazon.
Yes, I saw that he had done a reblazon.
Yes.
Per Ben Sinister or an Azure on a hand of Fatima, inverted, a Star of David counterchange.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Clearer blurb.
That's
a
much better.
clearer blurb.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead and.
I mean, I'm sure that they're going to tell us to reduce. An artist note should suffice to lower the Star of David over top of the
Or even
palm line,
or even raise it above the line of division, except that then it wouldn't be counterchanged in the blazon.
Exactly. I mean, if you you lower it down over top of the internal detailing, you're fine. What it looks like, I wasn't there when this was drawn, so it looks a lot like they were trying to center it onto the palm. But if you center it on the hand itself,
Correct,
including the size of the fingers, you can get it into that centering. But still, either way,
that's probably just going to be an artist note, though.
Exactly. That's exactly my thought. Is that there's not any problem. So, yep.
Okay, I just did another quick conflict check because I just realized that when I conflict checked it, I did it off of the original blazon, which was per pale, which it's not per pale unless you look at it like this. And I still don't see any conflicts.
Yeah, nothing's coming up when I'm doing it either.
Looks good to go then.
I wouldn't expect to see conflicts with the tertiary of the Star of David at that point.
Yeah, there's enough of there's a few hands of Fatima, but there's enough of a difference that it's not going to be an issue.
Well, and most people don't put the thing inverted.
Yeah.
No, and there are not a lot of those hands registered to begin with.
Right. So and since Ragged Staff says they want these types of things, send it up! Yay!
All right, so we'll send that up to.
Let's make.
And now that we have a registerable name that we can send it up with,
yes, instead of a holding. Yes.
Well, we can't send up a holding name.
No.
If we know there's problems with the names, then we can't send it up.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Because we can't assign holding names at kingdom level.
All right, so number 1, both are moving up.
Yay!
Moving on to number 2, Evelyn Loveday, resub device change.
This is starting to look familiar.
Yeah, Azure, a natural tiger or marked for pure, rampant, and a dragon rampant endorsed on a chief or between 2 estoirs, a decrescent per pure.
Mm-hmm.
Old item, Azure, a natural tiger, state and garden or marked sable, and on a chief or a decrescent between 2 mullets per pure to be released.
So is the only change here the stripes?
Yes. Because in the original submission, because they were black, it pushed it up to 9 different things.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And am I correct? That the thing that she has registered is the same thing, just with mullets instead of estoirs?
And no dragon.
The dragon.
Oh, the dragon's a new thing. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. So, see here, Magnus suggested a change to the blazon, which I think Michael Girard
concurred
with. He just repeated it. Azure, a natural tiger, rampant or marked for pure, and a dragon endorsed on a chief or a decrescent between 2 estoirs proper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, per pure. Sorry, per pure. Words are blending together.
Well, with 8 points of complexity, it's borderline, but I haven't found any conflicts, and except for the natural tiger being a step from period practice.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that why we have to say that it's rampant, because it's not a heraldic tiger?
Exactly. And natural tigers do not have a
default posture. Right. Okay.
This would be, had this been a lion, this would be very easy to do of a lion and a dragon endorsed.
Yes.
But not having that, having what we have.
I endorse that.
By the posture for it, but it's not a big deal.
Not close enough to slap Lucian.
There.
Yeah, that's all right. So we're not finding any conflicts or any other issues. All right.
Nope.
So we will send that one up.
All right.
Right.
Oh, did we catch the new device change that Lucian said? Since it's new to Laurel?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
It'll be a new device change when I send it up.
Okay, thank you.
It was a return at Kingdom.
Right.
All right, moving on to number 3. Basilios Philanthropinos Philomathes. New alternate name. Gee, I wonder why. Oh.
Well, he put that one in a long time ago.
Yeah, he has more syllables than anybody else I know of.
I think he has them all.
Yes.
All the syllables.
All right. The submitted alternate name is Johann von der Graben.
And he is very much online about having it changed to von dem.
Yes. Yes, we're going to have to change der to dame because of the gender of Graben, because German is gendered like that.
Well, he could have gone to vom and had it elated, you know, but he prefers the 2-syllable von dem. So.
Yes, usually you do make the contracture vom for von dem, but yes, he prefers von dem, and we can submit it as von dem, so we will send it up as that.
So he wants to be in the ditch. Okay.
No, he wants to be crawling out of the ditch is what it
From
sounds
the
like.
ditch.
From the ditch. Got it. Okay.
I didn't ask him about that. I'm not really sure for the reasoning behind that, but hey.
Okay.
Is he related to Cora Not Dead in a Ditch?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I'm
Different cultures.
I'm not seeing anything in the comments about conflict. Did we find
I didn't find any conflicts, and I helped him with the name, so I checked it at the time.
All right, so we're gonna send it up. And then moving on down to the next item, number 4. Same dude. It's his device. Sable ostensibly a point-pointed oar.
And this is I've got a question just with the letter build on this. Can't you do a new alternate or a new alternate name and a new device in a single item number?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
And I will be combining them into one entry on the external letter.
Okay. He is also, by the way, on this same letter, transferring his old device to his stepson.
That's the one down below
That's the one down below that's being transferred to Devon of Salthaven.
Okay, then we're going to need to have something commented on. If he has a device registered, then that needs to be put into the notes about the current.
His existing device, and instead of being released or retained, it is being transferred to someone else.
Okay, but that probably needs to be put into the summary on this. His
and also Cypher. I'm going to need. Are the letters for transfer and acceptance of transfer in the Dropbox folder?
Yes.
Because I'm going to need to make an entry for the transfer.
Right, they were accidentally printed unredacted to Oscar to begin with and had to be taken down. But
Yep. But we do have those. I did scan those in, so
Okay.
they are in the Dropbox.
All right.
Okay.
So because I'm going to have to make an entry for him transferring the device, and then we already have one for his son accepting the device.
Correct. We have both letters.
He can't accept it if we don't have him transferring it.
Exactly.
No, both letters were written and and sent, so we're cool that way.
Yeah. All right. So, but that's going to happen later.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, let's talk on this one. So Sable ostensibly a pointed or. We had it redrawn to make the ostensibly a little more prominent, so that we knew what we had going
It's
on.
where it filled the actual shield instead of being off-centered or too small.
Well, the problem is with the online submissions forms, you cannot adjust the size. It just goes. You just insert it, and if it doesn't fit exactly because it's a little off to one side or something, there's no way to correct it. So you have to.
Okay, so this one was done on the online submission the online submission ability.
Yeah, there's another one further down on this letter that has the exact same problem.
Okay.
And I know that the commenting said that I was using the wrong shaped shield, but this shield that I used on my computer was actually scanned off of a submission form. So it should be exactly the right size. So it's just, I think it's just an artifact of the online scanning thing.
Right.
Yeah, because the one that they're showing and everything, it looks exactly the same size and style that I use for mine that I got from Madog.
Well, what we're trying to avoid is the funky shaped shields that they get off of some of the other graphics programs. They used to have on CorelDRAW and some of these with fancier shaped and squatty and wider shields. And I think, they want basically the standard shield shape. And like I said, when this was put on, the only option you have is insert graphic.
Right.
So there's no way to resize it.
All right. So we've got our redraw. See here. I don't believe we found any conflicts. Looking at the comments.
No, I don't think so.
Edwin,
real close ones though.
Clear, and Lucian said clear.
Yeah.
And I checked it when I helped him to do it, so I say clear.
Yep.
Yeah, there should be enough of a visual difference between that sank foil on the shield that I uploaded and the sparks from the redraw.
Right. I also checked trefoil since they are 3-lobed to see if there was anything close with trefoils, and there wasn't.
And they don't conflict with semi of stars, do they?
No.
Okay.
Shouldn't.
Yeah, that's the only other one that I've gotten that's kind of close, but even then it's got an embattled base, so it's different.
Yeah, I found Sable semi of trefoils and garb ore, and that was the closest I found. And the pointed and the ore are two different devices, and trefoils and ostensibly sparks do not.
No.
Therefore,
this is where it gets kind of weird.
We just lost your audio.
Yeah, I think you cut out there.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Lost Terry.
Oh no.
Well, he is a wanderer.
And this isn't the first time, if I remember correctly, that we've had this issue with Darren's audio going haywire.
Alas, poor Taryn. I knew him.
Audio what we're talking about?
There you go.
Okay.
So,
Do we have him back?
Okay, you were saying. Okay.
I think he's trying to reach.
Are we there or no?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
There you are.
And now we don't.
The universe is conspiring against Terran. It has something to do with that last armory that he registered.
And the name to go with it.
Yeah.
Name.
The universe is getting even.
Karen? Oh, no.
Well, whatever he was going to say, I'm sure it was terribly important.
Yes.
Well, we'll pause for this brief station identification.
All right.
Right.
This Herald's meeting brought to you by Dr. Pepper.
Nothing like product placement.
It is
Brought to you by Blue Apron.
not actually brought. Disclaimer: it is not actually brought by Dr. Pepper. We do not have a sponsorship deal with Dr. Pepper.
No, we do not.
Although it is very
We are not
tasty.
affiliated with PepsiCo in any way, shape, or form.
Brought to you
Exactly.
by Nutella, the favorite of Harold's everything.
Nutella is delicious.
Brought to you by Quiet Lucian. If you want to hear him scream, they can call him.
Okay.
So,
I'm
Well,
glad I had my mic muted because I just let out one of my screech laughs.
All right.
so
Come on,
while,
Pat.
while we're waiting on Taryn to recalibrate his audio equipment,
Yes.
we are going to tentatively say send it up. I'm pretty sure we're going to send it up unless Taryn just drops a bombshell that really just destroys the whole process.
Okay.
And we're going to go ahead and move on to number 5. We'll come back to 4 once Taryn gets his mic working so he can make his comment.
Okay.
Okay. Since he hasn't typed anything in chat, I assume
No,
that's what
he
he's
hasn't.
working on.
Yeah. All right. So
Oh no, Terrence's fingers are broken too.
And I still
That would be a
remember this is
travesty.
going across the airwaves, okay?
Oh right. No broken fingers.
So
I think Lou's like shaking her head in shame.
Okay. And moving right along.
moving on to number 5. Ante Michelangelo di Trieste. New household name, Mission of St. Ignatius. The comments are all saying that there's no... They're all saying that the St. Ignatius part isn't the problem.
Mhm.
No,
The mission is the
It's the
problem.
mission problem.
mission. Yes.
Should Laurel choose to accept it?
Okay, Lambert.
Mission of the three folks.
Where's my ruler?
I think I have one of those later on here too. Don't worry.
Now, down here under the comments, where Frida puts in that 1626, that either of these ships, there should be a mission of the three fellows or brethren of Solomon's house or errand. So is that saying that mission would have been acceptable?
It sort of
Is
sounds like it-
1626 in our gray period?
Yes.
Yes.
Goes all the way up to 1650.
Okay, I couldn't remember how
1650,
far I couldn't remember how far the gray period went in.
Well, there's another one in her second set block of stuff, 1629. His place was prefect of the English mission.
Which are both in the gray period, so we should be able to send it up and let.
His mission, I don't know, that one's a little bit more questionable because it almost reads like it's just like, I don't know, are they using the term mission to mean like event rather than...
Yeah. Were they using it as a verb or were they using it as a noun?
Right.
the one in the first with the ships, that one could arguably mean, like, it almost refers to the 3 fellows as a mission, which is a little bit more clear.
Right. When I first looked at it, I thought maybe it was a ship name, and ship names are also one of the things that we can use for household names. But it's not. It has to do with people, a group of people.
If they were trying to use it as a household name, we couldn't use it because we're trying to use it as the designator.
Right.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Hey, Taryn, you want to do a mic check? Mic check 1 2.
Can you hear me again?
We can hear you for now.
And he's gone.
And he's gone.
Yes. Well, this picture's frozen up too, so.
In Frida's post here, is OEDs, what does that stand for? Is that the
Oxford English Dictionary? That's an accepted source.
Yeah, Alexander points out that might not be sufficient, I think. Because it says the original quotes Merriam-Webster showing a generic group. Maybe I'm misreading this. Is OED normally considered a standard?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Oxford English Dictionary.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of household names, so.
We just have to document mission as being a designator for a group of people, I think, technically.
There's plenty of contemporary sources for that, but was it used in period? That was what I was coming against when I was trying to come up with any type of documentation for this. And
that 1646 one could still also be read in terms of mission being a verb.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's a hard one.
We might just have to say it's above our pay grade and send it on up and let them make that decision.
Yeah, because I think that we have too much of a gray in our knowledge to say yay or nay as to whether to return it to the sender and let them figure it out and fight it back out.
Because this documentation may or may not be sufficient. And I think we have to err on the side of the client.
I believe so. And the post that Michael Girard made,
it gets real close.
He's dating them to the end of the 1600s, which is outside of gray period. Yeah. But some of them, one of the missions that he found documented in 1687 was founded in 1645, but we don't have the document necessary to nail that down.
Yeah, because it's Wikipedia.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like
and Wikipedia cannot always be trusted. You learn that in college and in high school quite quickly.
Oh, yes.
I don't know. I teach my class from Wikipedia a little bit.
Yeah, if it's on Wikipedia, it must be true.
Secondary source, not a.
It's written down and it's online, so it has to be a fact.
Yeah, I think if someone higher up above us can find that source for that 1645 one, I mean, that would be technically allowed. So maybe this seems like a prime candidate for sending it up above our pay grade.
Touch case.
So we're gonna kick this one back then?
No, we're gonna
kick it ahead.
We're gonna send it up and hope they have the docs.
Yeah, I think we should. It's the type of thing she said, if we're in doubt, send it up.
Yeah. And I think we can definitely qualify as in doubt.
And who are we to deny them more work?
When in doubt, send it out.
Yep.
There are examples of missions that are in period in the New World, like one in St. Augustine, Nombre de Dios, was like late 1500s.
What was it called?
Then why don't we add that into the documentation just as a clarifier?
Do you have that documentation, Kurt?
I just grabbed, I just saw it on St. Augustine's
Okay.
But was it called the Mission of Nombre de Dios, or was it just called Nombre de Dios?
I've seen it referred to in both ways.
In period.
But the thing is, we have to find it in period called Mission of.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping that
Hopefully someone can
because
find
we are
it.
finding things close to period, and we know that the Spanish were doing this sort of thing in period,
All over
very
the
late
place.
period, but in period. Hopefully, the people who are above our pay grade have the resources to find that for us if it can be found.
Word.
Yes.
That's what we are hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that we have strong enough grounds to return it to Kingdom.
No.
So we're gonna go ahead and send it on up. So moving on to number 6, same guy, another household name, Red Sword Company.
Oh, wait a minute. What about the? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
You're
just a
right.
household name for this entry.
Yeah, same dude.
On the same thing, Red Sword Company. Okay.
Well, it's 2 household names.
Yeah, company. And the question here is company, right?
And the construction.
Plus charge plus company. So
Well, yeah, well, company I think is acceptable, but they're wanting company of the Red Sword, right?
yes, they have accepted that change.
Okay.
Yes.
The question that we still have, though, is whether we can use company IE instead of company Y. That was another question.
Does anybody have a source from the OED or anything for when the spelling? I don't know that I have a link to it. Or the Middle English Dictionary or any of those things to see when company change spellings.
As far as I can tell, that is the French spelling.
But the French spelling has an extra I in it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Compagnie, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And if we do,
And also, if you did that, you would have to make it the entire household name in French.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have one registered instance with that spelling as a household name from '98.
Oh, that's too far. That's pre-Oscar, so we can't go back and. When was it cleared?
November of '98.
Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find that LOAR right quick.
And this is something that we've ran into before, even with devices, because of the change of Cena and everything, because of the difference and the changes and stuff that have been made. So that's even more of a problem posing possibly.
Right. Let's see if I can. Let me look up.
No, actually, yeah.
Letters by date and year. November '98. You said.
Yes.
Is La Compagnie de Chateau Corbeau.
Ah, somebody beat me to it.
There he is. There's
Registered
Alex.
to Morgan Fitzstephen.
All right. It just says household name and it has no commentary. Household name for La Compagnie de Chateau Corbeau. Of course, that's all in French.
Right.
That's an entirely French household name and badge. No commentary at all. But in this case, I don't think it supports what we're doing because this is an entirely French household name.
Right. So the question is,
with them looking for it in French, we might want to send it back to where they can format it as submitting in French, since we're at the end of the submission period, and have them put it in the next letter that we do to where it's formatted in French correctly.
Other
with
than
that.
that, find out from the submitter whether or not they would allow it to be spelled with a Y, and just say that they prefer the IE but are willing to accept the Y.
That's the simplest solution.
Simplest fix.
But I mean, other than the spelling of company, do we have any other issues with it?
No.
No, it looks
Not
pretty
that I
good.
know of.
All right.
And just have him register it with the Y and tell him after it's registered he can spell it with the IE if he wants to, because, you know, illiteracy is period.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, but we wouldn't ever recommend somebody do something so dishonorable, would we?
No, we would
What?
never.
No, never.
All the time.
Period, Alex.
We never stunt dock anything.
I didn't say
Never.
anything. No, I have no problem with stunt doc. I just don't think we should be dishonorable and suggest people do something in violation of registration.
True enough. That's where we can barely get away with it with artistic license. And that's just barely.
But if we state that the client's willing to accept the Y spelling but would prefer the IE and that we are seeking further documentation, somebody might very well come up with some.
Right.
I mean, they spelled a lot of things weirdly in England. I'm sure there's some document somewhere.
Especially with the Norman French tie.
They can just say that they registered it with a Y, but the guy who made their sign was French.
There you go.
Why don't you provide the
misspelled it.
documentation before you do that? That's still, I don't think it's honorable at all to go trying to find something.
No, we're kidding, Alex. But I think that would be the easiest way to do it, is just say that he'll take the Y, prefers the IE, and we're looking for further any support of the IE spelling. And with the Norman French tie-in in England, it's very possible that the company would have persisted, especially since you had so many so-and-so, names that persisted with the French articles.
Right. All right. So we are going to contact the submitter, see if he's okay with changing the IE to a Y, just so we can send it up.
Even though Kurt's got that note.
Well, that note still says IE though.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And find out if they will accept the IE spelling. Send it up with an IE. Tell him that he would prefer it that way, but that he will accept the Y if official documentation cannot be found to support the IE.
All right, good.
So somebody up at that level might have documentation for
They
that.
very well might, yes.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to be 99% send it up. All right. Moving on to number 7. Same guy, new badge.
The badge isn't going anywhere.
The fieldless version could.
Not as submitted.
No.
As submitted, we have sable, a pale argent overall, a cauldron suspended by a chain, sable, maintained by 2 wolves combatant argent, which is very wordy and not.
But the cauldron is not overall, and and if you reblazon it, which we did, it's a conflict.
So, Kurt, which one of these two down below did the submitter actually go with? The fieldless badge or the one where they separated the wolves off of the cauldron?
The separated one is still a conflict.
Yeah, the separated one was the conflict. So I spoke with him, and he's okay with making it fieldless.
Okay, well, he can do the fieldless.
And there are no conflicts on the fieldless.
None that any have found, no.
Yeah.
And Taryn was saying he's not sure we can go with the chain on it if we do a fieldless because there's no edge of the badge to.
Yeah, he has a very valid point there, and also yeah, I think he would have to lose the chain for that reason. I think Taryn's right.
And the cauldron is not maintained. It's sustained. As big as the other 2 charges.
Or equal size, yeah, of equal weight.
So 2 wolves, combatant argent, sustaining a cauldron sable.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that would work.
But he would have to probably lose that chain, or they're going to say something about it, because I think Karen's right. It is reliant upon the edge of the field to find the origin point.
Falana says he's posting one more thing.
Yes. Hang on. I'm waiting. He's typing.
Isn't there an argument to be made that the suspended by a chain kind of implies like that the chain goes up?
Up where?
Just up in general, because gravity goes down.
Yes, but
I mean,
you can't, with a field this bad, you can't use anything that's reliant on the edge of the field to define where it connects or whatever. I think Karen's right about that.
Okay. That's reasonable.
So he may have to do a redraw without the chain, but aside from that.
Yep, hang on a second.
If the submitter is cool with it. And besides, if the wolves are sustaining the cauldron, it doesn't need a chain. They're holding it up.
If they're doing their job properly,
Yeah, if they're holding it
hot
up,
and they need to cool their paws off.
they're holding it by the handle. The handle shouldn't be hot. Plus, they have their little wolf mitts on.
Yes.
The handle shouldn't be hot. Clearly, you have never had to pick up a cast iron pole
over an open fire.
I have people for that.
Hey, y'all.
Okay.
His posts are the ones ahead. So that was the one thing for this for number 7.
Okay.
So
did Taryn by any chance send you what his input was on 4?
Hang on, let me double check on that one.
All right, so we are going to contact the submitter and see if he is willing to remove the chain. And if he is, then we can get a quick redraw done and send it up.
As a fieldless badge, yeah.
As a fieldless badge. That'll pull it out of conflict.
Yeah. Because on the original submission, the pail is the primary, where if you take the pail and the field away, then it's just the cauldron and the wolves become the co-primary, and there's no conflicts at that point.
So would it be, so Lucian, would it be two wolves sustaining the cauldron, or a cauldron sustained by 2 wolves?
It'd be 2 wolves, combatant, argent, sustaining a cauldron sable.
Yeah. See, I would have done it differently because you're starting in the center and working out.
Well, it's all one co-primary charge, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do it either way. And if Reith wants to change the blazing,
we'll let Cormac change it. All right. So we'll contact the submitter and ask about the removing the chain.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if we remove the chain, we will send it up.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to number 8. Devon of Soulhaven.
Now that is the transfer.
Acceptance of transfer of device.
And he's also registering his name.
Right. So we'll go ahead and deal with that part. Devon found in family search as an English surname. Can use surnames as given names in late period English.
Right. It's also his mundane legal name.
Right.
But he doesn't need to use the mundane name allowance since we were able to find it.
Right. And then Soulhaven
Registered SCA group.
Is a registered SCA group. So I see no problems with the name as submitted. Don't think we had any conflicts.
No.
All right. So moving on to the Transfer.
Whether or not Devin means baloney.
Whether or not Devin means baloney.
Yes.
That is quite true.
Yes.
All right, so I've got that letter in the Dropbox, so I'll put the text of that up when I send it up. Redacted.
The batch number.
What on Devin?
Is not an M7. Oh, never mind. It's not M17 or M18, so it's good. Okay,
yeah.
Never mind.
Should be.
All right. So that's an administrative action, so we don't really need to do a whole lot of fussing with it. Hooray!
Kick it back.
Okay.
All right, so moving on to number 9. Dubin Bersison.
Donovan.
Donovan?
Yeah, it's a Gaelic form of Donovan. It's not spelled correctly. It should be an accent, not an apostrophe.
Yeah.
And Bersison is also not correct, but in my comments, I think I added all that.
Okay, yeah, you did. So
he just typed it. Probably didn't have it was basically diluted without the brackets, but it's an A with an accent.
Right.
Copy paste.
Yeah.
Yes, copy pasta.
That, or you use your character map. Okay, and yeah, so and in Gerbasi, where you do the patronymics, given names ending in an I, when they form a patronymic, the I changes to an A, and then add SON, so it should be Bersison.
Yes.
I've actually found it easier to have a file with those characters and copy them.
I open up LibreOffice, insert special character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to have
However, it's easy enough to do it, but we're used to it too.
I don't like remembering shortcuts.
Yeah. Okay. But
I've had to deal with that with WoW. I always use the Windows the little thing that they have for all the
character map.
Characters.
I keep it on my quick bar. But as far as I can tell, there's no conflicts, and as long as we correct the accented A and the form of the patronymic, we should be cool.
Okay.
He says no major changes, but those are both minor changes.
Right. And one of them is changing it to match the form. So
correct.
So that should be okay. So moving on to the device, we've got Vert, a wolf couching between 3 paw prints, all within an oral or.
Step from period practice for use of paw prints, but I found no conflicts.
Okay. And Lucian said no conflicts. All right.
Iago didn't find any either.
Yeah. So I think we are good. All right, so that's going to go on up. Moving on along to number 10, which is supposed to be Lucia Del Mar.
Mm-hmm.
Which is unfortunate because that gives it a conflict.
No, because that is her.
That's her name.
This is actually a new name change, not a new.
All she really wants to do is change the spelling of Lucia.
That's all she wants to do. She wants.
This is already Lucia.
Lucia to match her scrolls. She was playing in Trimaris. Because she was spelling it with an H the whole time, and it was
registered without it.
Registered without an H, and I was able to find one piece of documentation with Lucia spelled with an H, and so we are rolling with it.
Nice.
But she is the person that you thought she was conflicting with, so
Okay, that makes sense.
we're good to go.
Yes.
It's like I recognize that name from somewhere.
No.
And as Michael Gerard pointed out, I said given name when I meant by name in the name comments.
Yes.
But we have no conflicts found. And the name is actually supposed to be a name change. Lucia Del Mar to Lucia Del Mar. Adding an H.
You wouldn't expect to find a name conflict because it would have conflicted with her original name submission. So.
Right. But it's a new name change as opposed to just a new name. I think that's the only change we need to make to that one.
Well, that was put into the corrections.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I think this one's good.
All right, so that one is good. She will be happy to find out that I am sending it up.
Yay! And the crowd went wild.
She's in our local group, so she will be happy that is going up. All right, moving right along to number 11, Osbacher Dagson. New device.
Can I address something here? This looks
Certainly.
like it's the other one that was uploaded. You actually have to.
Yeah, that was the other one that didn't match the frame.
Yeah. You actually have to download the shield shape on the first page, like it says.
Okay, it's all right. I'm not going to say it was confusing. I was confused about it because I haven't used it very often.
Yeah.
So I will do that in the future to make sure that happens.
Yeah, because what happens is when there's no way I can guess what the image is going to look like or what the shape of the shield is. So I provide you the one I use. You put everything inside of it. When I upload it, it goes in the right place.
That makes sense.
But then you have to redraw it if you've already drawn it on your computer. Okay, but I was trying to figure out how to make this work so that it didn't do this. But this particular person had the same issue I did with.
But you have to listen to. You have to look at what the instructions say, and they do say you have to use. I mean, on the first page before you begin, it says download this and put your image in it. Do not put a space. Do not change it so that there's space in there because, I'm trying to upload an image and put it somewhere. So you use that one. There's no edging on that one. So it goes in the right place, and it appears when you download the form correctly.
Okay.
All right. So the blazon on this one, as submitted, is azure between a pair of flaunches, 3 holly leaves, bendwise in pale argent. Iago points out that the holly leaves are the primary. So he has reblazoned it to azure, 3 holly leaves, bendwise in pale, between a pair of flaunches argent.
The closest thing I found had sea bladder, and I think that's been cleared up that they, even though they're in the same category in the O&A, they do not conflict.
Okay. And as Magnus points out that this is a resubmission from a very old Laurel return.
Therefore, it is not new to Laurel.
And the name as registered in the no, never mind. It does have the little accent on the O. For some reason, it didn't find it in my search with the accent on the O, but I take the accent off and it pulls it up.
With the O, with the accent on.
With the accent on the O, yeah.
Okay.
So, but see here, we are not finding any actual conflicts, correct?
No, I didn't find any, at least.
I found one that was close, but I think we get a difference for the orientation of the leaves. It's down in the further down in the comments.
Yeah,
Let's see, that was the Azure and Pale 3 Oakley's Benoit Sinister and a Tierce. You got a different sort of second peripheral charge too.
Well, that's the difference.
So
There's you get a Tierce and then
the orientation of the primary.
Michael Gerard said he didn't think that the orientation gave a DC, but
no, it does. It does as long as they're long, slender.
They are. And if you look at the image that I uploaded, those leaves they definitely look different than the leaves from our submission.
Yeah.
And they're in a different orientation. So I don't think that this will be an issue moving forward.
I don't either.
I think that we should be okay.
Which is good considering how long it's taken him to resubmit.
Yeah. It only took 21 years. Better late than never.
You can drink. All right. And then moving on. So yeah, we're going to send number 11 up. Moving on to number 12, which I think is our last item on this letter.
Woohoo!
It's a bit of a doozy, but it's the last item on this letter.
Okay.
So Samira Abbas. New name and device. Let's start with the name.
The name cannot be registered as submitted.
No. The submitter can do Bint Abbas, and I think somebody was it Kurt? Was it you that commented that you had contacted? Yeah.
Yes, I did.
It was okay with Samira Bint Abbas, but we. See here, who was it? I think it was Basil.
Yeah.
Was able to find Al-Abbas as a masculine by name.
Al-Abbasi.
Well, I found it as Al-Abbas.
Right, with the accent, yeah.
Al-Abbas is not
both Al-Abbas and Al-Abbasi, both in the same list.
Mm-hmm.
It's see here, Arabic masculine names from the Futua. I'm Mustafa al-Muhadith ibn al-Sakat.
Mm-hmm.
So we can.
But do we have an issue with it being
Al-Abbas
masculine?
is not a by name; it's a given name.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's listed under surname.
It's a by name.
Well, it can be listed on whatever it wants to be listed. I'm telling you, it's not a surname. Al-Abbasi is the surname form of Al-Abbas.
Okay.
Which is actually what Lionheart pointed out in his comment.
Okay. But
the masculine would be Al-Abbasi, and the feminine would be Al-Abbasiya.
So
okay.
So it could be changed to Al-Abbasiya, and
yes,
would the client be okay with that?
I will contact the client and ask her if she wants to keep Bint Abbas or if she wants to change it to Al-Abbasiya.
Which is somebody from the Abbasid Caliphate.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
Okay, so based on the new article. Okay.
And it's down in the same article that he pulled up before that Basil did. So she can have a choice of either one of them, and it could still be sent up if she okays it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. So moving on to the big block of comments for the device.
Hooey.
So per bend sinister, vert and ghouls, a bendlet sinister between a pen distilling a goot and a scimitar ore. That is the submitted blazon.
Except that we need to specify the orientation of both the pen and the scimitar, do we not?
I think the pin is in default.
Well, it's a moot point because the device as submitted has a conflict.
Yes.
So.
Okay. I believe I saw you.
Yes. It's a Dagon Robert Fenwick per bend sinister Vert and Ghouls, a bend sinister between two quill pins, bendwise sinister or. The only difference is the scimitar.
And it also conflicts with Congo. Per bend sinister Vert and Ghouls, a bend sinister or, because we've basically just removed the secondary charge group. And
correct. So both of those would be conflicts.
So it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter how we orient the pen or the scimitar or how big we make that goot.
Correct. But somebody suggested
you're still talking
colors.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Somebody suggested switching the colors on the field.
I think that was me. Hold on a second here.
I'm looking farther down, and we don't have to do koi test with the way the field is. And is koi test even considered a need with the field being a non? My brain just
okay. It was anyway. I've got down that I have to agree with Lamb, but perhaps if the client reversed the field tinctures, which was what I suggested. There are only 3 registrations with Prebend, Gould, and Vert a bend at all, and those I've listed.
Well, down at the very bottom, I added 2 extra drawings. One, both of which I added cotices to the bends, sinisters. One had the gout. One dropped the gout because we didn't want to introduce it.
Well,
I was actually trying to remember the contrast. With us not having a contrast conflict, is the koi test even required or even allowable?
Yeah, they're allowable.
Okay, that's just a way to get around.
Yeah, they're a little bit off. Yeah.
It's a way to get around when there is a contrast issue, right?
You're thinking of fimbriation.
No, you're talking about fimbriation. Codices are a secondary charge group that can be added to get around a conflict. And in this case, doing that clears it of the device that had 2 pins. Wait a minute, no, it doesn't. Yes, it does, because we've changed the scimitar to a pin and we've added the cotices. And so that would clear that one. It would also clear the device that was per bend sinister Vert and Ghouls, a bend sinister or, because now you've got 2 different secondary charge groups added on there. So that should give us 2 DCs.
Yeah.
Right.
Does anybody see a fault with my logic there? But I think we're clear of both of the cited conflicts by adding those.
Are the koi tests considered a tertiary? Because otherwise we would be running into slush machine.
They're kind of in their own category.
Okay.
Completely on other charges. These are secondaries.
Right.
Okay. Well, oh yeah, that's right. Because the pin and the scimitar are part of the primary, and the koi test and
they're secondary. The
they're
bend
secondary
is
as well.
Yeah, there are 2 separate secondary
okay.
groups.
So the bend and the koi
primary
test is the primary, and then scimitar and the
The bend is the
primary. The
codices
codices are secondary charge group.
The pen and the scimitar are a secondary charge group.
They're 2 different secondary charge groups.
Okay.
Yeah, and since the submitter has already drawn this on a big banner, I wanted to, she drew the original submission on a big banner, and so I'm trying to make the changes on her behalf that don't require a huge amount of.
This is an easy fix. All she has to do is paint the codices on, and she's good to go.
Pretty much,
If that's the case.
So we want to talk about the gout. There's a lot of discussion about whether or not the gout makes it slot machine and secondary?
Oh, yeah. Now that possibly would if you're counting it as another charge.
Well, that wouldn't be a really. Would that be a secondary charge or would it be a tertiary charge?
It's a maintain charge, I think, is what they were looking at.
They're looking at it as a maintain charge, but at the same time, it's not maintained in like the traditional fashion because it's separated.
Right.
And
The most recent drawing that includes the gout, it is.
So the pin, the goot, and the scimitar are all in the same charge group, so you do run a risk.
Yeah, which is why I added an extra one that gout on it.
I mean, if I would suggest going without the gout just to be like absolutely sure, because I think you might get the gout, but I don't know. It seems questionable.
Yeah,
she is completely unmoved by the desire for gouts or not gouts.
Okay.
Whatever will pass.
I would leave it off then.
Yeah. I personally agree with leaving it.
It's always best not to have gout.
Avoid red meats and brown liquors.
I do like the gout free. Trust me, that's pretty. I like that.
Yes, I do have to concur. I like the second one better.
I think we should go with that second redraw.
I'll send that one off to the submitter and ask for her approval. That still begs the question: how are we going to blazon it?
You would blazon it per bend, sinister, vert, and ghouls. A bend, sinister, coteast between a plume pin and a scimitar or, basically.
Yeah.
Scimitar inverted.
A scimitar inverted or, unless you have to blazon that the scimitar is in bend, sinister, but, you know.
I think that would be
it would be in bend, sinister by default because of the space.
Because it's the only way it's going to fit the space. But unless you have to blazon the orientation of the plume pin and the scimitar, it would be per bend, sinister, vert, and ghouls, a bend, sinister, coteast between a plume pin and a scimitar inverted or.
All right.
As long as we have the emblazon correct,
yes,
they can fix the blazon
anytime they want to.
So.
Okay.
I have a question. I don't think this actually is going to change whether it goes up or not. But is that style of, I mean, like I see the mist-tone picture for that style of pen, but has there never been any issues with how skinny that is? It looks like a sharpened butter knife to me.
Well, I wasn't able to identify it in the original at first glance, but it is the image from mist-tone. But when they redraw it, it could the plume part, the feather part, could be fattened up a little bit to make it a little more identifiable. If that was cool.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna change whether it gets passed or not. It just
no.
I didn't.
It would probably be an artist note at best.
Artist note: give your pen a cookie.
Yeah. Feed your pen.
It's been
Big Bold and Butch.
All right. So we will contact the submitter or to change her surname and to change the device.
To possibly change her surname.
To possibly change her surname.
Because she's already approved Bintabas. But she just was not aware of the other option. So,
and she's been going by Samira Abbas as long as I've known her, so she'll probably go with that one.
She'll probably go with Bintabas then instead of instead of Al Abbas.
I just want to give her.
I
just want to give her the option.
Absolutely.
Very good.
All right. So pending confirmation from the client. That will go up, and that brings us to the end of our letter for this month.
Woohoo! You are so talented.
All right, so I would like to thank everyone out there in internet land for joining us this evening, and thank my wonderful commenters here for commenting. And I believe that is all we have for today. So. I'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you, everybody.
I see that Sharon did type something about number 4.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He says, what Sharon said was the ostensibly was fine from what I can see. No negative comments from me on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he was trying to say. Go ahead and turn off Google if you would, real quick.
All right. So we're going to go dark. So thank you, Internet, and I will see you next month.
Goodbye, YouTube.
With Gulf Wars.
It'll be a much bigger letter.
Yeah.